Mogul Motivation, educating and empowering entrepreneurs 1 week at a time. Presented by True Stories Media. And I am your host, Antoine Twiz Taylor. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in to yet another episode of Mogul Motivation. Guys, if this is your first time listening to this podcast was created for the entrepreneur who has a vision, the entrepreneur who comes from the bottom, the have-nots who literally never had anything, who is building every single thing in their kingdom brick by brick from the bottom with little to no resources and no support. This podcast is for you. This podcast is also for anybody who just has a dream. You don't necessarily have to be an entrepreneur. You could be career driven and trying to rise up the ranks in your respective industry. This podcast is for all of you so we can all achieve wealth, success, and live prosperity for the rest of our lives. This podcast is free. I don't ask anything from anyone. All I ask is if you know someone with similar ideals that can benefit from this podcast, you pass it along to them. So with that being said, I want to get right into it this week. I want to talk about titles. We love to call ourselves entrepreneurs. We love to call ourselves CEOs. We love to call ourselves bosses. We love to call ourselves videographers, photographers, you know, anything. We love to give ourselves these titles in this social media era. And it's so easy to give ourselves that titles, to put it in our bios and things like that. But it means nothing, ladies and gentlemen. Titles mean nothing without action behind it. It's easy to call yourself one thing, but it's another thing to actually do it, to actually execute, to actually be what an entrepreneur is. What is an entrepreneur? An entrepreneur is someone who literally voluntarily walks through hell over a long period of time to accomplish their goals, to build a successful business. No matter how long it takes, no matter how much it takes out of you mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually, an entrepreneur is someone who continues down that road no matter what anyone is telling them. That's an entrepreneur, ladies and gentlemen. An entrepreneur is not someone who just puts it in their bio, starts a hobby, and starts to charge people for a product or a service. That's not an entrepreneur. That's not an entrepreneur. That's just a hobby. Okay. These people, you know, I talked about entrepreneurs in the past, but these people, they're not even that, you know, that they're nowhere near that, because all entrepreneurs, they have a process when it comes to selling their product or their service. They have a process when dealing with clients and customers. They have their businesses incorporated. They have their businesses organized as LLCs or sole proprietorships or partnerships. They have their slogans and their logos trademarked. Okay, these are real entrepreneurs. If you don't have your business incorporated or organized as an LLC or any type of legal business entity, and if you don't have your things trademarked, you're not an entrepreneur. You're just someone who is doing a hobby, trying to make some money on the side. And that's okay. That's perfectly fine if that's what you're doing, but don't call yourself an entrepreneur. Okay? Don't call yourself a CEO, because that's not what you are. You're not operating as a CEO. You're not managing a team of people. It doesn't matter if it's employees or freelancers. You're not managing anything day to day. You're just going at it sporadically. And that's the problem with this age, ladies and gentlemen. We live in a social media era where it's so easy to put these things in your bio, like I said, but it's also so easy to share and post all these motivational things, all these motivational quotes and posts and all of that just to get your, just to get riled up and to feel good and to make others feel good. And that's okay. That's good. But it's nothing without action behind it. At the end of the day, it's all clutter. Even sharing a Mogul motivation post is clutter if you're not actually doing it. You have to go out into the world every single day and put action behind everything that you say you are. Okay? And it doesn't matter even if you're not an entrepreneur. You know, another issue I have is people are starting to force entrepreneurship down other people's throats. Okay? That's a problem to me. That's an issue, because entrepreneurship is a lifestyle. It's not a fad. It's not a trend. A lot of people are treating entrepreneurship as if it's some type of fad and trend, something cool to do. No, it's not nothing cool to do. In fact, if you read statistics and articles, a lot of entrepreneurs, myself included, deal with depression, deal with anxiety. It's nothing cool about entrepreneurship. It's nothing cool about that. And we're forcing it down other people's throats as if you have to become an entrepreneur and you have to do it now. No, that's not the case, because everyone isn't made for this lifestyle. Everyone is not made to be a business owner or entrepreneur. That's just the reality. And that's okay. Some people are made to thrive in their own career and to rise up the ranks. If your job is to work a 9 to 5, that's good, as long as you're striving with the ambition to rise up the ranks and not remain in the same position as you was 8-10 years ago. If your goal is to become the vice president, the CEO, or the head of your department, then do that. You can attack that goal with an entrepreneurial mindset. All right? That's what it's all about. So stop forcing entrepreneurship down other people's throats. It's okay if a person is not an entrepreneur or a small business owner. What matters is if they have ambition and a goal and are striving towards that goal to create wealth and to create the life that they want for themselves and their families. That's what it's all about, ladies and gentlemen. So titles mean nothing. Entrepreneur, CEO, photographer, everyone can pick up a camera these days and call themselves a photographer. But unless you study the craft of photography and actually operate it as a business, you're not a photographer. It's just a hobby to you. And that's the same thing with everything. I see so many entrepreneurs and people out here doing things for the sake of doing it for social media fame and attention. I know plenty of successful entrepreneurs who have been grinding for years, and have more success than these people on social media that's doing cosmetic things, posting, beautiful posts and motivational quotes just to get people riled up. You have to put action behind everything you do. Every title you give yourself, everything you do, you have to put action behind it. Otherwise, it's nothing but clutter and it has no substance. So that's my message this morning, ladies and gentlemen. Very straight to the point. Titles mean nothing. What matters is the work. We have to continue to work. We have to continue to imagine reality, and we have to continue to strive forward to achieve success and wealth and build successful businesses or get the dream job that we always wanted. That's what it's all about. Who cares about titles? Who cares about if you're an entrepreneur or a CEO? It doesn't matter. What matters is the work. So let's make it happen, ladies and gentlemen. I'll talk to you next week. Have a great day.